Colombia is a huge travel destination for so many people, and because of its proximity to the US, it's used often as a stepping stone to South America. And that's why we decided to explore Colombia, but a 3-week plan quickly turned into over 6 weeks. It's kind of a hard country to leave.
This is part 2 of our recap of our time in Colombia, and in this video, we're going to break down what it costs to travel Colombia for 6 weeks.
This is packed full of financial information to give you the real cost. Obviously, costs are going to vary depending on how you travel. We are definitely not luxury travelers, but we're also not budget travelers. So most of the expenses are based on 2 people who are wanting to stay somewhere comfortable, private, with private bathrooms, and eat okay food. Where we do save money typically is our transport between cities.
Buses. In this breakdown, we're going to go through all of our finance categories, including transport, accommodation, food and drink, entertainment, and miscellaneous. So if you're looking for something in particular, jump down to the time codes and skip to that.
Let's dive in.
Accommodation.
Straight off the bat, our largest and probably most people's largest expense category is accommodation. We spent $1,562 for 44 nights in Colombia.
That averages down to about $35.50 per night, which isn't too bad considering the level of accommodation we were staying in. And generally speaking, we at minimum want private rooms with private bathrooms in hostels.
We did actually end up splurging on 2 nights in Medellin for $60 a night in a really nice apartment, but there were holes in the wall, so we pretty much didn't sleep at all.
Our most expensive accommodation was actually one of our favorites, which is nice, at least it was worth the money.
We stayed in an Airbnb just outside the small town of Macheta, and it was gorgeous.
It was like this tiny home in the Colombian mountainside, and we were just so by ourselves and in nature, and it was just what we needed and wanted.
It was our most expensive, set us back $70 a night.
Worth it. Our cheapest night's accommodation was $17 in Guatape, and honestly, it was one of the nicer hostels we had.
Yeah, it was fine.
Quiet, clean, and $17 a night. You can't go wrong.
From our biggest category to our smallest, entertainment. It sounds a little bit grim that our smallest category is entertaining ourselves, but we count entertainment as anything that's involved with sightseeing, like entrance into Cocora Valley, entrance to museums, and we did go to the movies as well. But for the entire time we're in Colombia, we only spent $79 on entertainment.
Which is kind of crazy when you think about how much we did do. Like that includes going up and down the funiculars of Monserrate, Cocora Valley entrance, Guatape Rock.
Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
Most important. Food and drink is our second largest category, which I'm not too mad about if I'm honest.
This category is absolutely the place that we could have saved money if we applied ourselves. Food in Colombia can range massively, but you can eat really cheaply if you want to. Unfortunately, we found burritos that could be delivered to you that were incredible.
We also discovered an app called Rappi, which is just a food delivery app. And that's where a lot of our money went.
We spent $1,182 for 47 days of food.
That averages down to about $25, which isn't too bad for an entire day's worth of food for 2 people.
Our most expensive meal was actually pretty surprising. It was in Palomino. We went across the road and we got a couple of burgers and a couple of beers each. Ended up costing us $31, which for Colombia is pretty expensive. Our cheapest meal was our breakfast in Cartagena. We would always get a cup of fruit and these cheese sticks. The cheese sticks were only 70 cents each, so I used to get a few of them.
What was your favorite meal?
Cheese sticks.
Was it really?
Nah, I don't know. Favorite meal?
Yeah.
That's tough. Probably the burrito delivery.
Probably my favorite meal was the pizza we got in Santa Marta.
That was pretty good.
Yeah.
That was good pizza from Uzo in Santa Marta. Our next category is miscellaneous. This we consider pretty much anything you would need to buy whether you're traveling or not. So things like toiletries, getting a haircut. We even used it for cash out, which was a bit of a mistake I made when we first got to Colombia because people use cash a lot more than I thought and I was not keeping track of it very well. So I was just withdrawing from the ATM and using that cash. So our total miscellaneous spend / cash out was $883. Transport is probably the next most important category that you're going to come across.
Like we said at the top of the video, we like to find the cheapest ways of getting point to point, and because we were traveling quite last minute in Colombia, that was generally buses.
We loved taking the buses. We even took 3 overnight buses, which saved us a little bit on accommodation too. 2 of them were really good. The last one was a little bit uncomfortable, but we'll give it benefit of the doubt. 2 from 3 is not too bad. Our most expensive bus took us all the way from Cartagena to Medellin. Ended up being a bit more than 15 hours, but we almost laid flat and we ended up making a whole video about it. Cost us $142 to get us both to Medellin.
As budget travelers, we have done overnight buses quite a lot, and I will say the ones in Colombia are high up on my list. They're very comfortable.
For all our transport, including overnight buses, taxis, and Ubers, we spent a total of $668, which comes down to $14 per day. That's our numbers. That is everything that we spent for our 6.5 weeks in Colombia. And including everything, the total amount was 4,323 Australian dollars.
We are traveling on a budget of $100 a day, and for our entire 6 weeks in Colombia, we were averaging around $90 a day. That's not bad.
If you are curious about reading a super detailed budget report, I publish them monthly on our website, and I go into a lot of detail about what we spent and where we stayed, as well as our income statistics too. So if you're interested, I will link that in the description too.
Colombia is meant to be one of the more budget-friendly countries in South America, and we just had the best time. I think you could very easily go a lot more budget than we did. Like we said, we like to travel quite comfortably. We're 30 years old now, so we do require some comforts in our old age. But you could also spend a lot more money and stay at like luxurious hotels.
Yeah, it's kind of a destination for everyone. Whatever your budget is, you can do it in Colombia.
If you want to see our ultimate Colombia travel guide, we have made a video detailing our top tips for traveling Colombia, as well as breaking down our itinerary. Now to do it all again in Ecuador.
Ready?
I can see it. You're like... Quite on set.
We decided to... we stayed in